I think we have touched on Russell this evening, right? Uh, for long enough. I've got someone I need to introduce to you, and this is going to be for anyone who's wondering, right? I've been working. In fact, you know what? Let's not go into that. Everything about this entire this individual that you're about to see on screen just now, and any further members of his family that are brought to justice, we'll be talking about here. Now, this man here, his name's Kyle, all right, and he was found guilty of carrying out brutal SA attacks on two women in Edinburgh.
Right.
His sentencing is on May 7th, and I just want to read this case out to you, okay? A twisted criminal that was found guilty of carrying out brutal SA attacks on two women in court has been in Edinburgh. A court has found Kyle Kernican, who was brought before Edinburgh High Court, where a jury found him guilty of 2 Rs. The 28-year-old carried out the attacks in 2 separate locations in the capital. In one instance in February 2015, and in one in October 31st, 2016. Now, I just want to remind you of his age. He's 28 now.
Right.
Okay. He assaulted a victim with a crowbar or a similar implement to her injury at a property at Marine Divine in Silverknowes Beach in Edinburgh. Oh, my word. Silverknowes Beach? On a separate occasion, Kyle Kerrigan assaulted a second woman in a property in Granton View in Edinburgh. During the attack, he removed the woman's lower clothing and exposed her top half, and then went on to R-word her. He did so also while he was intoxicated, asleep. Hang on a second. On a separate occasion, Kyle Kernigan assaulted a second victim in a property in Granton View. During the attack, and then we're down to here. He did so while she was intoxicated, asleep, and incapacitated, or giving or withholding consent. So obviously she was under the influence or purposely being put into sleep. Kernigan awaits final hearing on the 7th of May, where a judge will decide the length and severity of his sentence. Now, he recorded these women being abused with these crowbars, okay? And I wanted to get your take, because there could be a massive story here, John, that will sadly, this could be at the center, John, and I say this with real intent, okay? You could be looking at one of the faces of the Rochdale of Edinburgh.
Okay? Well, let's look at what he's done, right? He clearly has a massive issue with women. To brutalize them and to R them like that. That there was without a doubt an issue here with his mother. If I was interviewing this guy, I'd like to know his family dynamics. He's punishing women, brutally punishing women from a very, very early age. I mean, this is obviously his Facebook profile that he's put in there, trying to show himself off as quite an innocent, good-looking lad or whatnot. A calculated man, but without a doubt with a deep-rooted issue and a need to seriously hurt and punish women. And it would have been leaching out of his conversations and his actions, probably.
Now, keep in mind, this is where his charges stem from, and this is from when he was 18 and 19 years old, and you're going to learn over the coming months more about the true extent of further allegations of being entwined with another case where an individual was trafficked from the age of 5 by her mother. And wouldn't you just know it? This man's father. And
yeah. See, funny enough, I was talking to a therapist and a profiler and a counsellor on these crimes. She's done it I think she's been doing it for near on 40 years. Very well known in what she does, and me and her have been working together for a long time, and we've been discussing cases that are sort of cropping up, mainly with the grooming gangs and all that. And she said, when are we really going to start talking about who's actually involved in it. Put the blame where the blame really truly lies. And the blame truly lies at home with absent fathers and complicit mothers. This is where it lies. This is where when we got to put the blame where it lies. This guy blames his mother because something's happened to him and his mother never protected him. It wasn't social services. They may well have let him down and put him in care when he got sodomized or whatever. And it may have been the police who didn't do their job. But that's secondary and tertiary blame. The primary blame in 80% of these cases are within the home, whether it's Pakistani Kashmiri cab drivers or it's not. 80% of it is in the home. Let's get this right. And let's put the blame where the blame truly lies. And it's only then can we unpick this, peel this back, and bring about healing and move forward and try and somehow prevent monsters like him ever doing it again.
John, you're kind of 90% right, except there's a good chance that you're looking at somebody from birth was made to witness similar crimes, right? These individuals.
Who made him witness them?
We can't talk about it right now, sadly, because there's an ongoing court case. But I just want to take you back. I want to give you a little connection here, John. So have you ever heard of a woman called Caroline Dunsmore?
I may have done, but go on.
So in 2007, Caroline Dunsmore was sentenced for one of the largest PDF rings in Edinburgh. And she was sentenced for her daughter, who was 5 at the beginning of this, taking her on a 10-year journey of abuse where, if mummy's friends came around and they weren't abusing her, she was wondering what was going on. When she went to her friend's house and, their parents' friends came over and there was no abuse, she couldn't understand why it wasn't happening. It was so normal to Dana. And Dana wrote a book and took down this entire PDF ring, and her mother betrayed her on the stand by basically saying that no other men were involved and protected some of the men involved that then are now at the center of this new case. Now, here is a very grainy picture, but these were the individuals who back in 2007 were at the center of all of this, all got jail sentences, serious jail sentences. But the man who escaped charge, okay, how messed up is this? So the man who abused her, who escaped charge because the mother protected her, John, went on to abuse her from the age of 16 right up until her mid-40s. I mean, systematically. Okay? And all of that's allegedly, but isn't it interesting, John, that it's his father?
Well, it is. And also what is more interesting, that the head of the Scottish judiciary at the time was a man called Nicholas Fairbairn. And Nicholas Fairbairn was Lord Nicholas Fairbairn, and he was one of the main PDF file abusers in the children's homes in Scotland, naming Forneath Kids Home in Perthshire, where out of 20 young girls who were hard, 16 of them picked him out, Nicholas Fairbairn. He was in charge of the Procurator Fiscal. He was the Advocate Depute. And Nicholas Fairbairn was having a long-standing sexual, emotional and personal relationship with Esther Ranson, who was in charge of Childline. So, right. And any case of this magnitude would have to go through the, the claw of Nicholas Fairbairn, where we decided whether or not it worthy prosecution. So, the thing is rotten from the top to the bottom. When you get cases like this, and we've seen it now with the satanic group in Scotland, in Glasgow, that the council house low-hanging fruit tower block scumbags there, and then you see it
listen,
right up.
John, isn't it interesting that all mention of satanic ritual abuse has been wiped from that case?
Of course it is.
Do you not remember how it started off? 8 witches arrested. Have you read the testimonies from those kids?
Yeah, of course it is. And when you've got, periodicals and magazines and publications like Private Eye, with people like Ian Hislop, who was named on the range list, that attack anyone who speaks out about ritual abuse. You know, they denigrate them and rubbish it. We've got journalists like Rosie Waterhouse do the same, attack anyone that call people like me as perpetrators of satanic panic. And they just won't have it. They just won't have it out there. It won't get anywhere. But it speaks volumes. But do you know what? Who do these people think they are, really? I mean, if you look at these fellas on here, you know, they'll be dead soon, or they'll die in prison or whatever. And even Nicholas Fairbairn, he never did a day in prison, yet he was named as one of the 3 politicians caught on the Elm Guest House list. They're dead now. They've gone to hell. They've gone to hell, a lot of them. But what is very interesting is that young man, Kyle, that you showed, right? It's obvious that he's been exposed to horrors, and he's gone on to do horrors. Yet the 100%. young lady who broke this case, she hasn't. She's gone the other way. She's got a moral backbone made of granite, and she's gone on to bust this case wide open. So this girl here, praise be to her, yet she's been through the same horrors probably as young Kyle, yet she's not gone on to hurt and that. She's gone on to do the opposite. So this just goes to, you know, so we got to look that, you know, hurt people, but, you know, there's others that they've been hurt, and the last thing they'll ever do is hurt another child. It stops with them, and it's called breaking the cycle. And there's many brilliant individuals. If you ever want to watch a superb man who's suffered horrors but gone on to do amazing things, there's a bloke called Bill Maloney of Pie Mash Films. We've got a guy who goes around the country now constantly advocating anti-child abuse rhetoric, a guy called Alan Merritt, superb individual. There's loads of them that have come from absolute horrific backgrounds that have just gone on to, you know, to change things, put things right, and make sure no one goes through them. And Sean Atwood's interviewed quite a few. He's interviewed Darren. You know, the interview he does with Darren, one of the most prolific armed robbers the UK's ever had, and what he went through. You've got guys like Anthony Roberts.
John, I just want to show you an image because I'm planting seeds here, John, because I can't talk about some things, okay? And I just want to go back to this article, and I just want to show you what it says here, right? Silverknowes Beach in Edinburgh, yeah? Okay? You can see it down there, so I'm not making this up, right?
Right.
You want to see a photograph that was taken at Silverknowes Beach?
Oh, wow. Yeah. The old boy lover symbol.
Taken by literally one of the subscribers of my channel.
Wow, look at that. Look at that. The old man boy lovers number signal.
Well, it's sort of been adopted fully as a non-verbal communication for PDF.
Of course it is. Well, we've always communicated in symbols. We dream in symbols. We don't dream in. But going back to this young man, Carl, that you've shown, who's turned into the monster that he is. When we look at Russell Brand with his father taking him to Thailand to have sex with prostitutes, right? How many of your listeners are fathers? How many of your listeners would do that to their young sons? You know, I used to take my kids to water parks and to the beach, and when they're old enough, go and have a pint with them and have a laugh. I never took them to brothels. But why would you do that? And look what he's turned into. Maybe, you know, and his mother's not intervened. And where's the love for women there? It's you know, threatening them, doing this to the, treating them like that. That's not a respectful individual. Why are these feminist groups not speaking out over this man? I don't know, you know, and why are so many women standing up for him? Innocent until proven guilty and all that. Well, of course, yeah, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what happens there, but not for us to say. But it really baffles me, you know, the idolatry that goes on. And again, this grandstanding there with a picture of Jesus Christ, well, that gets my back up straight away. The moment he does that, the moment he has to rely on deity to bolster up his pseudo respectability, he's FUCK. He's screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, why would anyone randomly spray that on there? I mean, that is the NAMBA, the North American Man Boy Lovers PDF file, and again, silence. Look at that. Now, this is interesting. Oh, I want to stick on this at the moment.
Good.
Right now. When
I used to, John, it gets worse. Let me just put up another one.
Well, we'll just stick with this for 2 seconds. When I used to visit addresses that were known for SRA, satanic ritual abuse, this silencing, you would get things like that, and you'd get things, people doing graffiti saying, "You're not of God. Why'd you do this to this?" And it's usually when you get ecclesiastical and clergymen doing the abuse. Why'd you do this to us? You're not of God. You're evil. And this area here is the site of ritual abuse. I'm telling you now, this area here is a site of ritual abuse. It goes on exactly where this graffiti is.
Well, do you know what? It's funny you say that, John, because just some more delightful further evidence.
A victim's done that. A victim has put that on.
This is a massive dogging site, right? Yeah, that's at Granton Harbor. Sorry, it is a different beach than the one that was reported. I was getting to correct myself there. But this is Granton Beach. This is where the crimes of the second part of the case originate from. Let me just bring this up for you. Your location. There's nothing here that's going to give away addresses or anything. But this beach is known for a pretty severe dogging culture. The crimes that were reported and were never given justice for, that Dana went through after her mother went to prison, occurred on this beach with biker gangs, with men in masks. She was forced on. She was forced on.
Well, again, it's the same. We found that in London, that the sites where a lot of abuse and ritual abuse went on were well-known homosexual open-air meeting places. And again, it's not a slur on the gay community. We've got to get over this. We've got to start being emotionally mature about all of this, right? Yeah. We've got to stop all this about, but no. Right. Look at the facts. And the fact that when you've got this open sexuality, that's what they're prepared to show you openly. What are they not prepared to show you? And it gets dark and it gets dirty and it gets deep very, very quickly.
Well, I mean, right? I wouldn't necessarily say that this is just a gay dogging site. This was
no, not at all. I'm not saying that at all. They're obviously, again, with the biker gangs and things like that, you know, that if you look at the interviews with Mike Cordella, the NYPD, he said that a certain biker gang was doing the security for these PDF file parties. I've heard that one group that was holding child abuse parties, which involved priests, and there were certain henchmen from the Irish traveller community were doing the security for that. You know, and again, I'm not slurring any of these communities. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying we've got to start saying facts, saying, well, it is, right? And look, one second, if you just bear with me.
Yeah, you're all right, mate. So I just want to talk about this guy for a while John's away. So this is one of the individuals that was in the original case of Dana Foley's notorious PDF fellow serving life sentence for R-ing children, was found to have abused further victims on Tuesday. Now, this was just last year. One of the victims, Dana Foley, went on to write a book recounting what happened to her at the hands of her mother, Petch, and others. Police began an operation investigating further allegations of historical abuse perpetrated by the serial monster while he was continuing to serve his life term. A judge at the High Court of Edinburgh found further 4 charges brought against him to be established following compelling evidence from witnesses who testified during an examination of facts. Judge Michael O'Grady KC ordered that Petch should be placed in the SFX's register for a 5-year period. Petch was not present during his High Court proceedings after he was ruled to be unfit to stand trial. His solicitor, advocate, blah, blah, blah. He is unfit for trial as a result of medical conditions which have caused deterioration of his ability to actively participate in the court process. Yeah, he said that Petch has diabetes, cardio. Oh, no one cares, mate.
Yeah. I know, bloody. But what you've done here is, if you was to get a bit of paper and start putting these people on there, already you've shown a connection between two separate cases. You've shown a connection with this guy's father, right?
I'm 4 years into this, John.
There's what you call a PDF ring. A PDF ring. You've done it, right? It's a ring. And then you get all these journalists going, oh, no, they're not related. This is how an investigation starts. And this can go deep and dark very, very quickly. But do you know what? Stick with it. Because
John,
what's happening now, this is surfacing. And I'm fully behind you on this one.
Do you know, I have got, sadly, Dana's never going to see justice. She passed away. Her kidneys failed in her finally. And it's very, very sad. This is Dana's first book, best-selling book by Dana Foley. And wouldn't you know it, little old me spent years interviewing this woman. Interviews that have never been heard before. But by God, the courts have heard them.
Do you know what? I may have spoke to her. When did she pass away?
It was last November. I think it was last November.
I generally think I spoke to her. I think she contacted me at some point. I'll have to have a look back on my emails.
Yeah. And here's another picture of Kyle. This is round about the time Kyle was committing these crimes. And I'm telling you now.
But isn't it interesting when you get his defense team going on about his diabetes and this guy, and if he goes to prison, it could affect his health. Do you know, they really sell their souls, these advocates, don't they?
Oh, he's on a life sentence, bro. He's already on a life sentence.
But you know, if you was, you know, there's certain things in your job that you can do. You know they're not right, but you do it. So I speak out, and I turn around and say, look, I never gave a shit, right, if drug dealers got their drugs nicked off them and their money nicked. I didn't give a toss. I'm not interested. If ever the corruption police approached me and wanted information regarding that, they ain't getting nothing. I ain't telling them anything. And I did actually get asked once, interviewed, because there was the guy I worked with that was dealing ecstasy, and I just said nothing. Right, well interested. I don't care. Right, it's the same as when people want to have it with the police and they get beaten up. I'm really not effing interested. I don't care. Now that might be corruption. Don't come to me because I ain't going to tell you anything. Right, a bit like that gangster code of conduct. But I spoke up because I don't like people hurting kids because they haven't got a choice. Leave them out of it. Just drop them out of it. Don't do it. And I think everyone should be on the same page as me, and the management should, but unfortunately they're not. John, they really ain't. And this is where it all goes so horribly wrong.
Isn't it interesting that Dana, not for the case with her mother, but the case that she's been fighting right up until the day she died, the connection between Kyle and Dana is Dana has taken Kyle's entire family to court for being the ones who abused her, several other people, several animals, several young individuals, this abuse went on so long that when Dana was 15, there was a baby in a buggy that witnessed her being R'd several times. 15 years later, that baby's 15 years old and is R'ing Dana. Just to put into perspective what we were talking to. Obviously, allegedly, okay, but I'm telling you now, about 7 or 8 months from now, there's another court case. And this is going to be important. I want to put this out there because this is important. This is really important. For anyone out there has been multiple claims from the man at the center of this case, who I'm not going to name, who has made multiple threats.
This is the very tip of the iceberg. When it comes to Kyle and his sick, twisted hobbies, many more names are to come. We have plenty of evidence and have fought tirelessly since 2019 to prove it. Thank you to Ron Swanson and Sean Atwood. Please subscribe to them to get updated. Our family is forever grateful. Lies gets around the World before truth gets his shoes on, truth shoes are on. Is anyone listening now?